Have you ever wanted a more combat-focused Don't Starve with a bit of base defense and big boss battles thrown in? Well, that's this game. Tribes of Midgard is a game that will enter early access next January, but it's had a couple of open betas this year. I got to play the last one recently, and I have some thoughts. It's a survival game with emphasis on multiplayer, up to 10 players. This game isn't very fun by yourself from what I've heard, so I hope you have friends. You start off almost naked near a town with nothing to your name. You run around with WASD gathering sticks and flint off the ground until you can craft an axe or a pick. You can't craft it all by yourself though. You have to go to the right person in the town, village, home place where there's a weapon and tool crafter, an armor crafter, and a potion maker. There's also a village elder lady that can make a Healy circle every 2 minutes to patch you back up. Once you have some tools, you can chop down the whole forest because you're the strongest Nord ever. One chop topples even the greatest of trees and gives you all the materials. Heck, you can even kick the tree over if you really want to. Mining is equally as fast with one pick and you're done. There's also some enemies around, but you can punch them out if you really need to. There's a special bar at the bottom of the screen that charges as you attack things. Depending on what weapon you have, you can use different abilities, like the kick mentioned earlier, a blade spin, or a big monster mammer slammer hammer jammer. You can also dodge roll. As you adventure, you will find different kinds of natural materials, along with different enemies in their encampments that have treasure chests filled with loot. Additional points of interest on the map are lone treasure chests that respawn after a cooldown, shrines that teleport you to and from the town, and random merchants that sell or craft things that the base merchant does not. There is also a day-night system that works a lot like Don't Starve. There's the day where you do things, dusk where you're really far away from your base and it's like,
oh no! It's all gone! What am I gonna do?
And the nighttime where bad things happen. The bad things being in this case some shadowy dudes attacking your town's tree. If the tree dies, it's game over, so you need to defend it. When you do basically anything in the game, you get souls. You can give the souls to the tree to restore its health. Finally, every few days in-game, a Jotun will spawn on the edge of the map and start walking toward town. Eventually, you'll be alerted that it's close, and you'll have to go fight it. These function as big boss battles, even zooming the camera out so you can see the whole thing. When killed, it gives everyone some sweet loot. If you run out of health, you drop to a helpless state where your friends can pick you up. If they don't, you die, and you lose your souls forever and drop your consumables. If you die again without reclaiming them, they're gone forever. You also level up and gain very exciting perks like plus 10% damage when you use hammer, or 15% less weapon break. That's about all the mechanics. I think there's a lot of nice quality of life stuff. Gathering is quick. When items break, it will auto-equip another one of the same type. But there's a lot of stuff I don't think works very well. The camera is entirely too zoomed in onto your character. By the time you see enemies, they're probably already aggroed to you. This makes avoiding combat kind of hard. There should really be some kind of option to set your zoom level. This could be intentional, but I just feel like I can't see anything with how it is now. The teleporter shrines are too far apart. You end up spending half the day running to and from the town. There's a consumable item that returns you to town, but the merchant that sells it is pretty rare and it costs a lot of souls if you do find it. If you don't have anyone waiting in the village at night, you're screwed. That's how I ended up losing my game. I was way out in the middle of nowhere, desperately trying to find a shrine to teleport back to, and I just couldn't find it. Just like I couldn't say that sentence. This leads right to another problem. Well, possible problem. The game is not built for a single player or maybe even a small group of players. There's a few difficulty modes you can pick when you create a world depending on the number of players, and I think they might be tuned a bit high. In what I played, we had 3 and 4 players, and we were playing on the 4 to 6 player difficulty. And it got to the point where we needed more than half of our group to stay behind at night because we could not kill the enemies as fast as they poured in. Couldn't kill the enemies? Combat? Sucks. Got 'em. The combat in this game reminds me a lot of Pagan Online because it has the same main problem. The pace of the combat is different for you and the enemies. They don't match. You attack and dodge fairly slow, and the enemies attack and dodge very fast. It's very hard to react the way the controls and abilities would imply that you can. The best solution to combat I've found is to just barely be in range, attack once to stagger the enemy, attack a few more times, and then stop and back off because the enemy will cease being staggered and just attack straight through whatever you're doing. There's nothing wrong with the enemies not being staggered by your attacks, but they are sometimes, and then they aren't sometimes. If you play Hammer, the first hit of the combo feels good. Oh, you just knock them back and do big damage. But if you keep smashing and get to the final attack where you pound the ground, nothing happens and it just feels weird. It also seems like you can't stagger an enemy that is already in an animation, so ranged enemies will just shoot you point blank and there's nothing you can do about it. Trying to dodge is very wonky. It comes out slow and has no invincibility frames. For a game that has full control over movement and a dodge, I don't think I should have encounters where I think damage is going to be unavoidable. These scythe guys are the worst. They're stupid and I don't like them at all. Unless of course you do some cheese, which is probably unintended gameplay. The Jotun fights don't fare much better. It seems like their attack hitboxes are just wherever they feel like being. With the slow combat and weird hitboxes, I just kind of gave up and mashed attack near the second Jotun I fought. I don't really have much more to say about them, they're just not very polished. Which is kinda the whole combat system. It's like these games have the right idea for combat, but don't fully realize a great version of it. Anyways, that was just some quick thoughts based on a few hours of playing. The game goes into early access in January 2020, but I think this one is going to be a skip until it releases for me to see how it improves. If you liked the video, smash like, subscribe, leave a comment, show your friends, stalk me on Twitter. Wait, no, I never post anything. Praise Helix. More gaming content coming your way. Bada bing, bada boom, 2 Lainz out.